Okay, if you took the Arnite Trail from the Oak Creek Canyon trailhead, you would reach this intersection with the Knoll Trail. The Knoll Trail heads off south in this direction, heads north in this direction, and the goal now is going to be to get to Juniper Peak and summit Juniper Peak. And what we need to do is head through Juniper Canyon, this little canyon opening, and we'll take a right up there at the base of Rainbow Wall, that sheer cliff that you see right in the center there. We're going to take a right before we hit Rainbow Wall, and we're going to head up Juniper Canyon. Here is what I refer to as the Juniper Canyon landmark boulder. You see this pointy boulder? So we're going to use that for our direction also. Anyway, now comes the challenge of making it through the thick brush of Juniper Canyon on the way up to the summit of Juniper Peak. And I actually see groups ahead that are heading up in the direction of that Juniper Canyon opening. And I'm going to guess, based on the popularity of Juniper Peak as a summit destination, that they're onto a trail. So let's go follow where these guys are going. Right along the base here of the mountains. We definitely don't want to go upward, but you can see where, yeah, they're passing on the right side of that Juniper Canyon landmark boulder. So let's head over there and continue on. Okay, I'm going to guess that this is where you turn up toward Juniper Peak. I see a definite trail here, and we're on the Knoll Trail just north of its connection with the Arnite Trail. So if you're taking the Arnite Trail or the Knoll Trail, you go just north of that connector, and then you're going to take this little trail up toward Juniper Peak, and you can see a cairn there. So yeah, this is what we're gonna, and there's another cairn. So these are positive signs. Let's continue on up. Lots of cairns, which gives us the hope that we are definitely on a climber's trail. Here's some cairns heading up in this direction, so let's go ahead and head in this direction. Of course, we don't want to get onto a rock climber's trail that will take us up to the cliffs just to the east of the Juniper Peak approach. But let's imagine this is the way to go, and the indication that we are on track is going to be that we are passing to the right of the Juniper Canyon landmark boulder. So let's see where we are here. Continuing on. Okay, I believe this is the Juniper Canyon landmark boulder, this pointy boulder straight in the center there. We are passing to the right of that boulder, which is a good sign. And this means we should be on track to be reaching that opening of Juniper Canyon, where we're going to summit Juniper Peak. Not entirely sure, but let's keep on heading in this direction. We may need to do a little searching for that canyon opening, but so far things are looking very good. Yes, so far this little trail is indeed leading up Juniper Canyon. We just don't want to ascend up here, but behind these cliffs in the foreground. So let's just see. I see cairns, but yeah, the big question, are we at a rock climber's approach, or are we on the Juniper Canyon, Juniper Peak summit approach? Let's continue on and we'll find out. Okay, on the other hand, there is the Juniper Canyon landmark boulder. Okay, yeah. So let's continue on this trail for a bit, but we don't want to begin to ascend too much up this direction because we need to head around the left side of these cliffs and right toward Rainbow Wall through the opening of Juniper Canyon. So let's just check it out. Okay, landmark boulder below. There's some hikers on the other side of Juniper Canyon. Now I took that route and I ended up at the Rainbow Mountain Eastern Cliffs. So I'm thinking at some point we got to descend into Juniper Canyon, and it looks like this is our point here where we descend. Otherwise we're going to end up in that crack that I ascended at one point earlier. We don't want to do that either. So let's head down into Juniper Canyon and then start tackling the brush and the boulders. Okay, yeah, I descended a little too soon into the canyon just a moment ago. I reconnected up on this side with what looks like that trail I should have stayed on in the first place. So yeah, as long as we're heading toward the opening of Juniper Canyon, we're in good shape. So let's continue on this trail, see where it leads. Okay, now as you can see, we are in the brush and the boulders at the base of Juniper Canyon. I believe this is the exact trail that we need to be on. If you could call it a trail, let's call it a route. Because we are heading toward that opening. As long as we continue toward the opening, we're in good shape. The only question is, was there an easier way? We don't know. Well, this isn't as brutal so far as I thought it might be. There's a nice trail. You go down into the canyon a little bit before this, as you saw, but then the trail continues as a trail, actually, and it continues above all that brush. So let's carry on here, see where it leads. Okay, continuing along, and we're closing in on the opening to the canyon, and yeah, nice trail so far. We'll see how this holds out. If at least gets me to the opening of the canyon, I will be happy. Then at that point, I'm going to hit boulders, some brush, and a sandstone slab, and then wind my way up toward the summit of Juniper Peak. So continuing forward. One thing I'll say is that if you're doing this route on a weekend day in the spring or in the fall, it's one of the most popular routes, as I've mentioned, and because of that, there are always a lot of people around you. If you get lost, just sit on the trail for a little while and wait for the next group to come by, and they'll probably show you where the next turn is. So yeah, continuing up toward the opening of the canyon. Okay, let's get our bearings here. We're looking down Juniper Canyon. As we look on the south side, that is actually the rock climbers approach trail. I took that by accident once when I was originally heading up to Juniper Peak. But it was a great experience because I ended up being able to watch rock climbers scaling those cliffs, sheer cliffs. Pretty amazing. So that was not a wasted adventure. In fact, no adventure is wasted. But then you look down Juniper Canyon, and then looking in this direction, we're looking up Juniper Canyon, and there's the opening. There's a boulder field that I want to reach. A couple climbers just passed me, and they're climbing a formation called Mr. Z, which is either this crack, it must be maybe it's a little bit beyond, because they're still going. I haven't seen them ascend yet. Yeah, they're ascending now. So I think this is Mr. Z. So if you're a rock climber looking for Mr. Z, this is what you're looking for. I will not climb Mr. Z, but it's always interesting watching people do sheer cliffs like that. On the other hand, we're continuing to angle our way, head up through that opening there. It's going to hit a field of boulders, going to hit some brush before that, and then a sandstone slab as we continue upward. Okay, here's a little turning point. You can either go up this direction for Mr. Z, sounds a little ominous, or down in this direction, I believe is going to take us along into the opening of Juniper Canyon. So let's head down in the non-Mr. Z direction. Another decision point, I think I go over this little ledge here. Alternately, I guess I could go down this direction and then up the canyon. We'll see. Now it gets sketchy. We're in the forest. Okay, I've been weaving my way around the bushes at the base of the canyon. Wow. And I don't know how I got to this point, but it seems that now and then something that is similar to a trail opens up, and there you can see above us there's an opening up there. That's where I believe we're going to hit the boulder field, but we're heading in the right direction. And so far, yeah, I've had to weave around and backtrack a bit to find the right passageway, and I don't even know if this is the right passageway. Here's a little cairn, that helps. There's looking down Juniper Canyon. So yeah, I think we're heading in the right direction. Anytime I see an opening through the bushes, that indicates that that's part of the popular trail that is going to take us through, because a lot of people have helped create these openings in this passageway. So let's continue on. And here you can see, yeah. Now I can't tell you exactly how I got to this point, but we're still on track. And it looks like this is the right passageway. We don't know. Next stretch ahead, and there's a little cairn up there. So I am definitely on a route that is meant to reach the summit of Juniper Peak. So let's continue up. We see this large boulder. We're going to go to the left of that boulder and continue to ascend. So let's see where we end up. As I mentioned, yeah, you hit brush and boulders, look for cairns. And there is quite a bit of scrambling already over large boulders where you've got to pull yourself up. In some cases, not being the rock climber, I actually pull myself up backwards, sit on the ledge above, and then raise myself to the next level. So yeah, we need to get up over this section of boulders. So here we go. Okay, that ledge was not too horrible. There's that cairn that told me I need to go this way. And then here we are at a nicer stretch. I don't know how long it's going to last, but yeah, we're still advancing upward. Okay, next section, and there's the telltale cairn. Says I need to go up that boulder, and we'll see how that is. And definitely a boulder field. And this is what I just came up. There's looking down Juniper Canyon. So there's looking at the cliffs. But yeah, we want to head up in this direction, and let's see where that leads. Huge boulders to scramble over. This is where we call it Class 3. Okay, another ascent. Yeah, this is a full body workout. You can tell I'm not a rock climber. I'm more of a trail runner. So if I was a rock climber, I'd probably spend more time in the gym working on my upper body strength. But continuing along, good leg strength. And here's another cairn looking ahead. So continuing to wind our way up this huge boulder field. I know I'm on track, but wow. Okay, now here's a kind of an avalanche slope, loose dirt rock section. I don't know if I'm on track or I need to be below in the canyon on either side, but hey, I'm up on a ridge now, and we'll just see where this leads. I may have to backtrack. And this is going up, so we don't know. We're going to find out. Okay, it appears I'm on track. The pathway continues and looks like we are approaching that scree field we saw from way back. So this is looking good. Well, I think it's safe to say I may have gotten a little off course because there's the canyon below. And there is the ascent, and that ascent to Juniper Peak would be right along the edge toward the clinging the red cliffs up there and heading straight up. Yeah, so let's see if I can get back down into Juniper Canyon. Looks like I'm not the only person that ended up here. There's great view of Las Vegas and Redrock Canyon in the foreground. Well, just descended from that high road back into the canyon. And actually, that may not have been a bad way to go, except it looks like this is the main trail. So I basically did a bypass, and here we are continuing up Juniper Canyon, but that was not it wasn't too bad as far as a deviation, and now we're more clearly on the main trail, so not too bad. So if you find yourself heading straight up a kind of dirt loose rock hill, you're above the canyon on the south side. You can find your way back down because the trail leads back down. Like I'm not the first one to have made that little deviation, but here we are on the main trail. So it looks to me as if the route that we want is going to be right up, hugging the edge of that cliff face up to the top, then take a left and head up to the summit. That's my guess. I don't see any other way. In fact, I see some climbers up ahead that I know are heading to Juniper Peak summit. There they are. So that's where I need to be. So here we go. So far, so good. Okay, we just passed through this area, and what do you know? That actually looks like a trail. So we're back on track. I think I did make a little deviation, but it's a deviation a lot of people make because it heads up to the left and ends up in a dirt avalanche loose rock slope, and then descends again into the canyon here. And you can see that, yeah, this resembles more a trail than anything I've been on in the last half hour. Okay, you see some climbers up on the sandstone stretch. This is a stretch I mentioned. So that's where I need to be. Of course, the question is how to get there, but I think we're on track here. This is a regular trail. Okay, continuing up. See a cairn up here. There's a boulder field. I recognize this from pictures. Although probably it's not the best climbing strategy to go by pictures you see on the internet, but so far it seems to be working fairly decently. And here you can see down Juniper Canyon and then up, and we need to wind our way around the left side of this white sandstone slab and then head upward. So let's see if this is indeed going to take us there. You can't really trust the cairns along the way because some of them are probably placed there by rock climbers who decided to mark some more challenging routes. We don't know. Anyway, yeah, let's continue upward. And looking up, this is looking up toward Rainbow Mountain. Of course, you see the sun right in the center there. Hopefully that doesn't destroy the picture. Yeah, there's Rainbow Wall. It's the closest I've been to it. So that's pretty impressive. And again, here's the direction we're headed. Up Juniper Peak. Okay, even though I followed cairns, and here's one over here. And this boulder field looks familiar in pictures. It feels like a dead end once you get up a little further. So I'm thinking I need to head back down in the canyon and circle around in this direction, more near the base of Rainbow Wall. We don't know, but let's just scout around down here and see if I can come up with a better route than what I'm on. Well, I lost my bearings up here, so I may need to return and give it another try. But there is the summit approach, and I'm just waiting for climbers to be coming up and down so I can get a little more of an idea what the exact route is. In the meantime, here is what I would call the hard way, not the way I would go. But look up on these cliffs. Let's see if we can nail the position of some of the climbers that are hanging by ropes. Yeah, I think we got a couple up there. Here we go. Definitely not the route I will take. But in the meantime, yeah, just looking around and watching for climbers to give me an idea of the best route. And a Juniper Peak summit climber, which is the route I want to take, just came down over this sandstone ledge and is behind the trees there. My question is whether they're going to take this red rock field, which would give me an idea if that is the way we want to go. Okay, here they come. They came down this ledge and they were above the ledge up to near the summit. And you see that V there, you turn left at the V. Okay, so let's go back to this ledge. They came down this ledge and now they're navigating over to this boulder field. So it looks like that is indeed the way to the summit. I know they're coming down from the summit. And it's clear they're doing a lot of experimentation, back and forth, searching out the correct route or the way they're going to make it down. So yeah, climbing Juniper Peak is not a matter of having an established route unless you've done it a number of times. But if you haven't, then you just got to work on it, figure it out. Okay, based on what those climbers showed me, here is the route to the summit. When you get to this point down below, there is a kind of a dust, loose rock scree pathway that leads up this way and then up to these boulders. You continue on up the boulders to this point and you find a way over that white rock ledge. You get above the ledge. There's the ledge. So the way over it is right in this area. You get above the ledge, you take a right. And then it's a matter of hugging the lower edge of these red rocks. And you hug that all the way up to this point, and then you take a left and you continue on up to the top. So let's look at the big picture. And by the way, yeah, the summit would be up in this area. There's the big picture. You see where you hug the cliff, the lower edge of that cliff, and then find a way over this little white sandstone ledge right where that large boulder is, or close to it. You get to these boulders, this boulder field, and you pretty much got it made. From there, you continue on down, and then down through the wash here. And if it helps any, the climbers told me that what's up above is not as difficult as this wash. So yeah, I think I did the most difficult part, and I'm heading back now. I'll come back and do from here to the summit. Okay, yeah, finding your way out of here can also be a bit of a challenge. Now, I'm on a nice section of trail. When I came on the way, I went over that hill. That is the Redrock sand, dust, pebbles, slippery ridge that I came over. And then I came down and I found this really nice trail. So on the way back, I'm going to stay on this nice trail and see where it leads. So, and just to look around. Wow. And there are rock climbers on the cliffs all around us. In fact, those climbers that we watched descend actually were going to climb Mr. Z. Must be a popular climbing spot. And I said there's just too many people on it. And so they went toward the summit of Juniper Peak, then turned around and said that hey, this third weekend in April is just too hot. They're going to come back in December and give it a shot. And I guess a good time to try this would be in the fall, before the snows come, but when it's cooler. So just some random thoughts about what strategy you might want to take when you come up Juniper Peak. Okay, that alternate route up over the hump that I showed you just a while ago would be take this little trail up, head over the hump. But I remember coming down from that and seeing this really nice trail. So let's continue on the nice trail and see if that leads us to an easier route down this canyon. Well, surprise, it's turning upward. And again, we're heading over the hump. And I can see why, because you just don't want to be down below in those boulders and the brush, walls of brush, boulders and ledges. So evidently this is a nice little bypass route. And so on the way, I was actually on a better route than if I'd stayed in the canyon. Wow, take a look at this. Looking down Juniper Canyon from this little high trail route. And I think this is actually the main route from what I've seen. So yeah, we just need to head down this trail. But wow, look across Redrock Canyon over to Blue Diamond Hill. There's Blue Diamond Hill. Then in the distance, there's the Las Vegas Valley. Pretty hazy. Okay, down this loose red rock section. And we're going to descend back into Juniper Canyon, where once again we will encounter boulders and brush and ledges. But for now, we're kind of above that, but heading straight down this very loose, grainy trail. Okay, continuing downward, I've passed the red, dusty, slippery section, and yes, I admit it, I bit it 3 times, but it's tame enough that I just landed on my bottom and got back up each time. So it's not really bad, but wow, it's a challenge keeping your footing on that slick dust. Now we're back in the rocky, bouldery section. Here we go. One positive note here is that on the way down, it's actually a little easier than on the way up, because you can always lower yourself down over boulders. So yeah, continuing downward. Well, I'd like to say emerging from Juniper Canyon, but no, not yet. There is a nice little trail here, and this is the path I came down. There are the cliffs above. There's the Rainbow Mountain Eastern Cliffs Approach Ridge right up there. So yeah, there's still some challenges before we get to the base of the canyon here, but I think the most challenging section is behind us. So yeah, we're getting familiar with Juniper Canyon, and next time we make this approach, it'll be a lot quicker and we'll get up to the top. Okay, this is what I mean by that Juniper Canyon landmark boulder. Take a look. We know that We skirt around the left side of that boulder, and then we're going to hit the knoll trail, take a right, and then head down the Arnite Trail. I think you can almost see the path of the Arnite Trail below. You look carefully. And yes, much easier coming down the canyon than going up the canyon. And there is Pine Creek Canyon trailhead parking. And then if you look over in this direction, the beast is going to be right at the intersection of the Scenic Drive and Oak Creek Canyon Road. There's Oak Creek Canyon Road, and there's the Scenic Drive, and you're looking roughly at the exact spot where the beast is parked. So we got a ways to go, but we're moving along. And the most difficult part is behind us. They're looking out across the canyon, Redrock Canyon. Continuing downward, there's our landmark boulder, Juniper Canyon landmark boulder. The lower end of Juniper Canyon, give you an idea where we are here. Now we've been down this entire canyon. Juniper Canyon. And see if I can turn without losing it here. Here we've got the foothills of Juniper Peak. And then down Juniper Canyon and across Redrock Canyon. So let's continue on toward that landmark boulder. And here we are at the Juniper Canyon landmark boulder. And one could almost cut across the canyon here. It's a little trail, and then head down to the knoll trail. That might be a good way to go. Let's go ahead and try that. So we'll go across the canyon and then down. Don't know if the trails all connect. I know that they'd connect if I went down this way and then retraced my way back up. But I just want to try this and see if we can't hit the knoll trail and then the Arnite Trail up this way. Let's try it. I guess this is called a shortcut. I don't have a very good reputation for successful shortcuts. Yeah, what else do we have to do? Let's just go ahead and let's go right under the Juniper Canyon landmark boulder. It's a little gnarly around here. Yes, you can actually, well, maybe go under the boulder. Here is the boulder. And see this little squeeze passage? Yes, we're going to take it. Yeah, that was really a tight squeeze. Had to hold my breath. My backpack was scraping. So, yeah, quite the squeeze. But now we're continuing on in this direction. Here's a, let's take a look at this landmark boulder. There it is. Huge. And we passed by right under the boulder on the left side. Let's see if we can connect with the Arnite Trail. Okay, I vaguely remember that there were some pines at that intersection with the Arnite and the Knoll Trail. Here's some pines, and here we are in that little return trail from the landmark boulder. If we can nail this, we will actually save a lot of time, but we don't know. If we hit the Knoll Trail above the Arnite Trail, then we're not going to find the Arnite Trail. So those are our challenges. Okay, we want to be in this area, so let's scrounge around here and see what we can find. Always good to have the big picture, and ahead there is the Oak Creek Canyon trailhead. So we know we need to head in that direction. I see the Arnite Trail. If you look closely, leading right to that trailhead, you can faintly see a trail. That's the Arnite Trail. So let's see if we can connect with that. If we set a beeline pretty much toward that area, we should be able to hit the Arnite Trail, theoretically. Okay, we just came down Juniper Canyon. Nice little trail after the Juniper Canyon landmark boulder. And what do you know? It emptied out right here, and there's a sign that says Arnite. So we are now on the Arnite Trail. So that shortcut actually worked, and we saved a little time. Now we're just heading back to the Oak Creek Canyon trailhead. And there you can see our goal, Oak Creek Canyon trailhead. And you see the Arnite Trail winding along toward that point. So yeah, it's all looking great. And the Arnite Trail is the quickest way back from Juniper Peak area, and it's downhill all the way. So that's pretty nice. And then let's take a last shot up Juniper Canyon. Up Juniper Canyon. That's where we've been. Foothills of Juniper Peak right here. Bridge Mountain area. That's, well, actually Bridge Mountain. There it is. There's the baseline cliffs of Bridge Mountain, which head down, straight down, find their foundation at Pine Creek Canyon. There is the Pine Creek Canyon trailhead. And by the way, if you were to take Dale's Trail and continue north beyond Pine Creek Canyon, see that line of red rocks? It's kind of a bluff. There it is at the base of the cliffs. That is a premier bouldering destination. So there you have it. A lot of things can happen along these Rainbow Mountains baseline trails. So let's go ahead and run it back in to the Oak Creek Canyon trailhead.